The champion of 2023 International Championship, 中国选手 Zhang Anda. Please welcome Zhang Anda from China. Three ranking titles, 2 Triple Crown titles, the champion of 2025 World Championship, 来自中国的 Zhao Xintong. Let's welcome Zhao Xintong from China.
It's a race to 10 for £180,000 first prize. The traditional pre-match photograph. Who will prevail? Well, already, both of these players, you could say, have been mission accomplished, because both needed a deep run here to make it to the Players' Championship in Telford later this month. That's been sorted out. Both will be there, but they desperately want this prestigious title. Joining me for this one is Alan McManus. And Alan, while Zhao Xintong has to be regarded as the favourite, never disregard Zhang Anda.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I think it's going to be a terrific final, actually. As you say, there is a certain clash of styles between them, and you could argue that both of them, certainly this fella, Zhang Anda, was one shot away yesterday anyway from not being in this final. But he is, that's the point, and it's set up to be a terrific contest.
And Zhao Xintong is well aware of just how good Zhang can be, still fresh in the memory. Their UK Championship match I mentioned a little earlier. Zhang won 6-2 earlier this season. Breaks of 129, 127, 87, 73 and 69. So I think Zhao Xintong will need to be sharp.
Yeah, he's a terrific little player, Zhang Anda, isn't he? We know about the world champion, of course we do. He's been very good all week long, Zhang Anda has. Lovely. He's a lovely way of hitting the ball, doesn't he?
What?
Not that dissimilar, actually, to his younger opponent. He glides through it. It's going to be an attractive contest, as well as, let's hope, a closely fought one.
I think there's a fair chance it's going to be more closely fought than last year's final in this tournament, when Neil Robertson whitewashed Stuart Bingham 10-0. Can't imagine a repeat of that.
Yeah, the world champion obviously has to start a warm favourite, because we know, as I say, we know all about him. Whatever that thing is, he's got tons of it. That thing that you need to be a superstar of snooker. But yeah, Zhang Anda, terrific all-round player. I just hope we get a good, strong performance by him, because I think we will definitely get it from Xintong.
Zhang looking for the biggest payday of his career. If he were to triumph today, he would be £180,000 richer, which is slightly more than the £175,000 he won for winning the International Championship in 2023. As for Zhao, he's looking to maintain his 100% success rate in ranking finals. Played in 3 of them, won 3, and in fact he's won 3 comfortably. Never really been pushed. 10-5 in the UK Championship final in 21, 9-0 over Yan Bingtao in the German Masters final of 2022, and 18-12 when he won the World Championship at the Crucible last year.
Good effort. Still looking at that red. I mean, it is on. This one offers better percentage. Good pot.
Wow.
He's potting from distance. Zhao is just dynamic. He won 2 frames yesterday against Zhao Guodong with reds to open up that were just sumptuous.
Four. Five. Ten.
Played that nicely. It's no bad thing that the cue ball's going to be going back up table. And just getting these reds more open while he's doing it. I don't quite
11.
know why he played on the pink, to be honest. With so much on offer with blue or bulk colour. This is almost his trademark shot. The long blue to bulk pocket. His long game is ridiculously good. It's just ridiculous. I believe I've said it. I believe him to be the best long potter I've ever seen.
16.
Bar none.
Seventeen.
Yeah, I'd like to play devil's advocate, Alan, but I can't. I agree entirely.
Yeah, you do have lots to choose from. I know that. You know, Neil and Jack Wazowski and a few others that we could mention, but it's just it's on a different level, quite honestly. And not, it's so many different ways he can do it, you know, thin angles, using all kinds of spin, dead straight, deep screws, topping it, everything.
$24.
Another point to make about
25.
Xintong, we talk about his talent, touch and all that stuff, all that thing, but we never talk about his cue action, mainly because he doesn't really have one. Just a couple of little short feathers and off he goes. And that's no bad thing. There's nothing overly technical about him.
$29.
As soon as the cue ball was coming back there off the brown, he was a little concerned he'd underscrewed it. But he just had enough room.
30.
Is he on the pink, though?
Zhao Xintong, 30.
Yeah, on the face of it, quite a bad miss, wasn't it? I think he was preoccupied with his cue ball. Oh, that's unlucky. That's unfortunate. Allied also to the red being pretty much over the yellow pocket. It was almost a dream result, wasn't it, until the cue ball found its way in.
Yeah, and as Alan said then, insult to injury with the red going over the ball pocket. Look at them now. Hard to imagine that Zhao won't win the frame from here.
Five. Six.
One or two things that I've been looking for all season from the champion is that to see more fight
13.
when he's facing adversity in matches, and he did it against Mark Selby. That could be the making of him this season. 4-1 behind to Mark Selby this week in the last 16.
14.
And yes, Mark missed a couple, but didn't do an awful lot wrong. But Xintong showed that grit and fight that I've been looking for. He's always going to be good in amongst them and look good and score well. It's good to see that he's got that in his armoury as well, digging in when he has to.
19.
So, frame ball.
$100.
Yeah, we're always on the lookout for turning points in a frame, a match, or a season even. And Alan's absolutely right. As soon as that result came in, I thought, yeah, this could do
28.
Zhao Xintong the world of good.
$35. 36.
Red still goes, doesn't it? Not this time.
Zhao Xintong needed 2 bites of the cherry. Zhang unlucky to going off. It is the world champion who gets the scoreboard rolling. He's drawn first blood.
Second frame, Zhao Xintong to break.
So finally, issue resolved, whatever it was. Frame 2 begins.
One. Eight.
Did quite well there actually to hold the cue ball. And at least he can cue this reasonably. It's quite awkward, but he has a little bit of room to get the cue through. Lovely shot.
Nine.
Technically one of Zhang's great assets. He's very still on the shot, and that really helps on a red like the one he's just knocked in.
I was just thinking, 1 or 2 things early on
16.
have gone against him, haven't they? There's another. It's not vital, but it makes such a difference if those small things like frame 1, the shot that I'm sure you know I'm referencing, that they go against you, and small things like that. You know, you land on a red, you get about your work. So important. Trouble is, even if he gets the pot, get the cue ball into open play. No, it never looked on. Pity, but just a wee bit unfortunate when he went into them.
Yeah, sometimes, even at this level, you don't quite believe your own eyes and you try and persuade yourself that you can pot a ball. I suppose after missing that red, Zhang can consider himself a little fortunate that there's no immediate damage done.
That's good work, the last couple of shots from Zhang, and is going to need an awful lot of that. Try and keep Xintong pinned back as much as possible. Dangerous business leaving him this kind of red against most players. You'd be quite comfortable leaving that red on the right. Interesting, he's not playing it. This is quite a tricky safety shot. Well played.
Good exchange, this. And the way the balls are configured, cutting off the left-hand side of the table as we're looking, that could pose problems for Zhang.
Yeah, this is serious trouble. There is a return to balk, but there's plenty of obstacles on the path back. Terrific effort. Great shot. And maybe come round and check for the plant around the pink spot to right corner. If it's close, it's playable. No, but it's not on.
Having woven the cue ball back into balk, it would have been a little harsh had the yellow not provided cover on the red over the pocket. But with that red being there, it's now Zhao Xintong who's got real problems.
It's not difficult to hit the red over the pocket. Just got to rely on not leaving it. Just wants the correct contact. Good shot. Well played. Always a chance of that, but the main thing was not leaving anything. Yes, good shot.
Yellow ball. Zhao Xintong, 1.
I think they both thought Phil another one of those little helpful flicks there, wasn't it? That might mean a lot. And one good pot, and it probably will do, and it's just the man for the job, just off straight.
It wasn't easy, but I'm still surprised he missed it. And now a really good chance for Zhang to make an impact on the match.
One.
Trying to join a large group of players who've won 2 ranking titles. He would be the 14th, by the way, to be a double ranking title winner. 3 world champions on that list. Graham Dodds, Dennis Taylor, Cliff Thorburn. A double UK champion on the list, Doug Mountjoy. Because one of his UK championships didn't carry ranking points. He won the UK and the Mercantile for those 2 titles. And a former Masters champion by the name of Alan McManus.
Yeah, I wish it was more, but you can't always get what you want. Not in this game.
Seven.
Pink spot covered, so looks like there's room on the black spot for it. It's no bad thing.
Thirteen. 14. Punch. Punch 1.
One of Zhang's great traits is that when he's in the balls,
28.
he's got really good concentration. Yes, of course, everyone makes mistakes, but he's very reliable.
29. 36.
Sometimes, Alan, when you use this word to describe a sportsman, it can be construed as veiled criticism. This isn't. He's very efficient.
Yeah, and also phlegmatic, isn't he? Nothing gets to him. He has a lovely calmness. Everything he does. Oh, needs to slow up. Needs to slow up. Ah,
44.
gone wrong.
Yeah, the break ends at 44. 59 the lead. But 75 still there.
Yeah, if it was touch and ball, he wouldn't mind so much, but of course it's not, so you're going to have to play the red directly, which doesn't help. What he can do with his cue ball here, quite honestly, he's actually in a little bit of trouble. No, he did very well.
单打 44.
On several occasions so far, the balls have conspired against Zhang, and you could make an argument to say that was unlucky.
Okay, so it's a better picture of it, isn't it? Where not that much of a pocket to aim at. He'll feel duty bound to take it on though. Only Reddy can leave is that one, so if he pots it, the frame should be his.
Oohs and ahs from the crowd, but I think that camera shot fully illustrated just how tight these middle pockets are. You cannot afford to hit that near jaw. If you do, no chance.
One.
Yeah, just overcooked it. I wasn't entirely sure. We got a picture of it earlier,
Six.
the red nearest the cue ball of the two together. I'm not sure that goes to left corner. Obviously it must do. He's having a look at it, but it looks a bit on the thin side. So the one up the side cushion's got more value. Get rid of it, and if he knocks it in, ooh, just a bit pacey. Just played it a wee bit pacey.
6.
Momentarily thought about trying to pot the red on the right-hand side to the middle pocket, but it's such an acute angle, that's not viable. That red was, though.
One.
So in the first frame
8.
on Zhang Ander's side of the ledger will make him settle down.
Yeah, he's played nicely. I mean, that's a little bit of a fright. Checks his numbers. He's okay. Certainly where the reds are. But how on earth has he missed that red? Yeah, should still be okay. Yeah, he's settled into the match. Should still win this frame, no problem.
What a howler, though, to miss. And, of course, now he's expending nervous energy that is totally unnecessary. Zhao is 61 points adrift with 59 on the table, so one snooker needed.
One.
What a marvellous little shot. All right, there wasn't a lot of pressure on it, but superb.
When the ball's going to rest there, you would never imagine he would need the rest.
Nine.
Yeah, Zhang Anda is one of those players
16.
you underestimate at your peril.
Seventeen. $19.
It's a big day for Zhang in so many ways. Currently, with all points added, he's 20th in the provisional rankings. If he were to win this match today, he'd be up to 16th. And we're getting to the point in the calendar where we start to seriously think about who will be seeded to the Crucible, who will avoid the maelstrom of qualification.
$24. 26. $29. 33. 38.
Not his kind of frame. Zhao, it's taken
44.
27 minutes, and Zhang has dominated.
Zhang got 51.
Good stuff, breaks of 44 and a 51 clearance. Zhang equalises. It's 1-1. From what we've seen in their respective careers, from what we've seen in the first two frames, get the impression this will be a keenly contested final. One thing we do know for sure, whoever wins will be the first Chinese champion of the World Grand Prix. Ding Junhui came closest previous to this, runner-up in 2018. Now that for him, Alan, that's a malfunction.
Yeah, very surprised that he missed that. And that certainly helps Zhang An's cause today. It gives him an extra bit of breathing space in the match to the odd freebie and the odd mistake. He might even be the smallest player on the tour, actually, Zhang An, isn't he? He's not much of him height-wise, but he makes up for that in every other department. I thought he rushed that a little bit. You know, he got the rest out and didn't sort of stand back and weigh it up and go through his process. Let's be honest, a straightforward shot. Bought it anyway.
One.
Well, we know how good Zhao Xintong is with the recovery blues to ball pocket, but is it worth taking on the risk here? Pink clearly not available.
Rumble. Zhao Xintong 1.
Quite a staid start to the final, really. Both players still finding their feet.
Zhao Xintong 7.
But there's no doubt, and it's a small sample size, Alan, but there's no doubt on the balance of luck so far, it's not been with Zhang.
No, I mean, it's only going to be a 7-point difference, really, that one. But yeah, it's unfortunate that. Yeah, he's had what running there has been, probably. Well, he won't feel it because he's got such a good temperament. We can say he's been a wee bit hard done by, perhaps. It's all part of the game these days, isn't it? Well, I suppose it's been part of the game in all the days. It always has been, always will be.
But that's why the players enjoy the luxury of a lengthy match such as this. Now, how will the cue action fare here? Oh,
1.
back to normal.
Seven. 8. 13.
Well, he's got enough angle on this red to be able to do something with it.
$14.
Yeah, we're probably going to see here the value of his long game. You know, the initial long red, it's one that a professional worth their salt expect to pot more often than not, but Xintong, you're shocked if he doesn't pot it.
$28. 29.
I was trying to make an analogy yesterday with other sports. When you can pot from distance like him,
35.
it's like a golfer who can hit the ball much farther off the tee than his competitors. A tennis player who's got a very heavy serve. A boxer with a powerful punch.
36.
It is such an advantage.
Yeah, you say that. I totally get what you mean, but if I'm going to be pedantic, which I am quite a lot, Phil, as you know, you use the word advantage. I kind of don't like that word in some way. I prefer asset. You know, it's not like an advantage suggests it's a bit unfair that he can do it. You know what I mean? But it's such an asset to have. You're absolutely correct.
44.
And it's intimidating. That's the other thing. I think, well, if he's doing that every time, click, click, thud, and the red goes, then I've got to follow suit, and that puts pressure on you. Yeah, it is. It's advantage, asset, whatever way you want it, it's massive.
Let's meet in the middle. An edge. It's the edge.
52.
That's exactly what it is.
$59. 60.
And by the way, he's no slouch when it comes to scoring either. 4 centuries in this tournament thus far. 47 for the season. The last frame took 27 minutes. This one's in the books effectively after 9 minutes.
$75. Zhao Xintong 75 in the frame.
3/4 of a century from Zhao Xintong, launched by that excellent red from distance. How often do we say that? Zhao Xintong back in front. He leads Zhang in this World Grand Prix final 2-1.
Frame 4, Zhao Xintong to break.
Can Zhao double up as a tournament winner this season? By the way, if Zhao does win, he will move to 7th in the provisional rankings, leapfrogging Shaun Murphy.
One.
Good pot. Can't quite reach the pink, so get the furniture out. And it's one, there's a lot of pressure on this actually, just the way the final's balanced early on. Because we know that if one player's going to take the match away from the other quickly, it's going to be Xintong that does it. He's got to stay with the world champion as long as he can. And there's the miss, there's the mistake. That's a worry.
Zhang, 1.
Yeah, he's normally very good with the rest, is Zhang, but he's missed a couple already in this match.
One.
Yeah, good way of playing it. He would made sure he wasn't going to lose the cue ball up table towards baulk. So was always bound to be on something, and this is ideal.
Seven. Eight. $15. $16.
All week,
23.
we've been wondering whether Zhao Xintong can do enough to make the Players' Championship. That's a done deal. But if he were to win today, he'd be well on the way to the Tour Championship. He'd move to 6th on the one-year list. Sure, he's not thinking about that right now. It's just all about getting his hands on more silverware.
24. Nine. Third.
Well, if this shot goes right, Alan, could be another quick conclusion to a frame.
Yeah, full ball on the outside red. He's going to push the red touch in the pink up as well. At least that does the red chip into right centre.
37.
Appears not. And is he feeling brave enough? If he can see the one on the cushion. He played a good shot there, just plain old unlucky, simple as. Played it absolutely the way you would have wanted, so the red does go.
Zhao Xintong, 37.
Even for a potter like him, judging that angle with cue ball and object ball so close together and playing into a blind pocket, it is tough.
Yeah, it's not crisis point in the final, far from it, but Zhang has got to, I think, make a positive move here. Building himself up, he'll know this is a massive shot. Ah, well played.
1. Eight. Nine. Fourteen. $15.
Yeah, I can't play right in behind the red, the one on the cushion. So I won't go as far as to say it's awkward, but really want to be nice and close in behind it. And this is no sitter, this red.
$22.
Yeah, the pockets haven't been brutal this week, but this is a shot that has to be given full attention.
$23.
Yeah, we know he's not a Judd Trump or even a Xintong, so how does he get his cue ball up table? He'd be busy doing it. Well played. That's a terrific shot. Very good indeed. Is he on the red? It deserves to be.
30.
As Alan pointed out, this is psychologically a very big frame, especially now that both players have had a chance.
What a beautiful shot. In some ways, the shot of the finals so far, because of what it might mean in about 5 minutes' time.
Yeah, the reason that Zhang's at the table is because Zhao Xintong faltered with white and red close together.
8.
Zhang didn't, though.
39.
Resolute thus far.
$46. 47.
He knows it should be 2-all. This is his last chance for something to go wrong, I reckon. Yeah, it's well played. It's as straightforward to put away as a frame in a frame
54.
now. As you would hope to get. Straight brown, straight red, not a problem.
55. $59. 60.
He's some player, this little fella, Felicity. He really is. I mean, I'm not saying anything we don't know. He's in a world ranking event final, but he's so impressive in so many different departments.
$64.
I think one of his great traits, he just plays within himself. He knows what he's capable of. He knows
66.
the aspects of the game he's strongest at, and he goes from there.
Yeah, he's not flashy at all, but you don't have to be. That's a good point, actually.
69. $73.
That's the highest break of the final so
78.
far. A final that looks like being very closely contested.
84. Zhang 91.
Last year's World Grand Prix final was a runaway. In fact, it was a whitewash. But this one, it's 2-2 at the interval.
35.
Oh, superb. Safety shot, and that spells trouble perhaps for Zhang. That was a lovely shot, exactly as played. So a lot of people will be waking up in the UK and around Europe. It's been a terrific final so far. I think 2-2 at the first interval is just about right.
Foul. This Zhao Xintong 4.
Yeah, the red that he's playing on, the one nearest the black. It's quite critical that he gets a piece of that red. And preferably full on. Well, he has left an option of a pot. He'll certainly take it on, probably cut to right centre. Yeah, I think that would have maybe offered a better cue ball, but now then. Zhang undertake the aggressive option. It's his kind of shot with his cue action, but far from easy.
Gun barrel straight.
One.
He just trusts his technique and it works time and again.
Eight. Nine.
Only just qualified for this tournament. He was 28th on the one-year list. But his season has been radically upgraded.
16. $17. $24. $25.
So many bonuses if he wins this match today and lifts the trophy. We've talked
32.
about improving his chances of being seeded to the Crucible. He'd be well on the way to a place in the Tour Championship. And he would secure a place
33.
in the Champion of Champions in November.
Yeah, nice little gentle cannon on the red, touching the pink. Just opens everything up. Not what he played. He should have done,
40.
but he was never going to stick in a red if he had gone with that option. Now, this has gone a little awkward.
Yeah, we've talked about his diminutive stature. Playing shots like this when you're bridging over intervening balls, not the easiest.
$41.
Again, though, just accepting the fact he's going to leave himself on the black. Not ideally, but this is almost an action replay of the black he knocked in to win the semi-final yesterday.
48. 49. 56. 57.
'I wasn't overly convinced about him playing on this red. He should still
62.
pot it, but it was quite tricky to get right in behind it. I think there was one or two other better options. Should pot it. Yeah, well done.
'63.
And now Zhang less than a handful of balls away from taking the lead for the first time after being 1-0 and 2-1 down.
Yeah, just overrun the cue ball by about 10
68.
inches or so. So still quite nicely on the red, but take a bit of potting. This is where the modern player has improved so much. The mid-range red. Oh, brilliant. That's a fantastic shot.
69.
Really is. Superb.
Yeah, we've been extolling the virtues of Zhao Xintong's potting, but Zhang's no slouch in that department either.
Love the way. I mean, the first red at the break, we sort of
76.
said that, you know, it's his kind of shot. And so it proved on that occasion. He's so good from mid-range, as most players are these days, granted.
77.
Love the sort of unhurried way that he hits the cue ball. Almost never kind of snatches at it or throws in a quick one.
'84.
Surrendering position, but it's too late to save Zhao Xintong.
Zhang 84.
The break ends at 84, and Zhang Anda, the outsider going into this final, is now in front. He leads Zhao Xintong, the world champion, 3-2. 3 frames left in the session. For Zhao Xintong to lead after session 1, he has to win them all. If there has been one recurring weakness in Zhao Xintong's game this week, he's missed more pots to the middle pocket than normal. Some easy, some difficult, like the last one, but yeah, they have been going astray. Now, Alan, is that going to be a big moment? Just when you thought Zhang was possibly going to take control, he's handed Zhao Xintong a gift, and that's not recommended.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That it's long finals, first to 10. Momentum is such a important part of it. Zhang had it certainly up to that point.
$16. $17. $22. $23.
Beautifully judged. In prime position.
The goal today is to win his 4th world ranking title. If he does so, he'll join on the all-time list Ryan Day, Barry Hawkins and another world champion, Luca Brissell.
$29. $30.
Not had his scoring boots on yet in this match.
37.
Zhao, apart from a 75 break in the 3rd frame, he's been a little constrained.
38.
And a tester coming up here. You know, back in 19 92 when Ronnie O'Sullivan turned professional. We were up at the Norbrick Castle
43.
Hotel for the qualifiers, and I used to go and watch O'Sullivan's matches all the time, and I used to marvel at how he knocked in
44.
those recovery blues to the back pocket, and now here is another fellow who does it incredibly well.
He certainly does. It's another one of those assets that he has, isn't it? It's almost, well, it's not really, but it feels like a kind of knack. It's one of those shots that he just enjoys playing.
51.
So back in perfect position, and it should be a straightforward put
52.
away for parity again. Must say it's been an excellent final.
Yeah,
56.
barring a 27-minute second frame, it's been quick as well.
$58. $65. 66. 73.
This frame's been going for 8 minutes, and basically, it's over.
74. 81. 82.
'Zhang missed that mid-range red, and he spent the rest of the frame sitting down.
88. 89. 95. 96. 102.
First century of the final, and you have to suspect it won't be the last.
103. 110. 112. 115.
It was important for Zhao Xintong to reassert himself in this match.
119.
And he's definitely done that with what should be a total clearance.
124. 130.
It would have been a total clearance had he not tried for a trick shot. And so, Zhang Anda's mistake punished to the full. Again, nothing to choose between them. It was 1-1, 2-2. Now it's 3-3. So all first session outcomes still on the table. Both could lead. We could see that very common scoreline after a first session of 4-4. An anxious few seconds there for Zhang. The red was going in the general vicinity of the top left-hand pocket. But it's on the side cushion, and he's also got a pretty good cue ball.
One.
What a great shot that was.
Yeah, full of risk as well. Beautifully knocked in, and that'll do nicely.
Eight. Nine. $16. $17.
Play that with a trace of side to get a little nearer the blue. All the the great players do this. But I think it's
22.
pronounced with Zhao Xintong, the way he can suddenly turn something
23.
innocuous, for want of a better word, into a really fine break-building chance. Another instance here. Just makes something from nothing, time and time again.
30. $31.
Yeah, there's nothing complicated either about the way that he plays. Dead simple. It looks that way anyway. So it looks like he's always enjoying himself. Or pretty much always.
38.
Not so much when he's struggling as he has been a bit in and out this season, but when he plays
39.
well. He just looks like he's having a ball out there.
And for most players, when they achieve the ultimate, when they get to the pinnacle of the sport by winning the World
46.
Championship, you think, well, that's peak stuff. I think for him, there's
47.
definitely room for improvement. And that's a scary thought.
$54.
There's something old school about the way that he plays as well, isn't it? The little cannons. And there's a bit of Mark Williams in there as well.
55.
He's a completely different player from anyone on the tour. I would liken him most to Mark Williams, the way that he plays. And we know how unique he is. Just looks, at the moment, incapable of missing
62.
when he gets in close.
63. $70.
Well, in this World Grand Prix, for the second frame in succession, he's taking the checkered flag
71.
in no time.
$78. $79. $86.
Lots of players would be concerned at this point, but I wouldn't share those
87.
concerns for Zhang Anda. I think he's going to be okay. Doesn't mean he's going to win the next frame to tie things up again, but he's got the game and the temperament, as we know, to handle this. But he's got to, I said it
94.
earlier, near the start of this final, he's got to find a way to stay with Xintong into this evening's session.
95.
But here's another ton on the way.
Yeah, I tell you, might be concerned here. Zhao Guodong, he might be deprived of £10,000.
102.
Zhao Guodong against Ronnie
103.
O'Sullivan made a break of 144. That's in line for the 10,000 high break bonus. But Zhao Xintong here can go one better.
110. 111.
Well, I'll tell you what, Alan, if he gets that far, he won't be playing a trick shot on the black this time.
118.
No, he won't be. It's just, it's fun to watch, isn't it?
120.
He's keeping us guessing there. Should just mop these up, no problem. The fun continues.
123. 127. 132. 138.
'Extraordinary excellence from Zhao Xintong. What a way to regain the lead. 275 unanswered points turns a 3-2 deficit into a 4-3 advantage. The eighth and final frame of this session gets underway with Zhao Xintong on a roll. The Crucible King ruling the last couple of frames with breaks of 130 and 145 total clearance, the highest of the tournament so far. Can Zhang somehow block his path to a first session lead? When you consider, Alan, we had one quite lengthy frame of almost half an hour. This session has absolutely flown by.
Yeah, it's been a terrific watch. It's gotten better. The final has gone on.
One of the worrying aspects for Zhang in the 4 frames he lost, he spotted just 1 red. 3 times he has failed to bother the scorers. Well, he's so good from distance, Alan. You have to believe putting the extra oomph into the cue ball there compromised his accuracy.
Yeah, he was trying to cannon the black and push it on, and that encouraged them to overcut the long pot itself. That was the problem. And if the black was on its spot, you would have fancied him lots more to knock it in. Now then, he stood up to the task so far in the final very well. Now then, needs a little flick off the blue. Okay. Not the best angle on it, granted, but a big shot coming up potentially. This next one with the rest, that red above the black, is going to be a big shot. In the context of the session, well, that was a bonus that he could get the cue ball about a foot closer, so
6.
he's composing himself, just taking an extra few seconds, I think is smart, and he's opening a few shots of this.
Seven.
As I said at the tail end of the previous frame, no concerns whatsoever over his composure. Not in a panic, that's one thing we do know.
$14.
You know, yeah, that light is going to be so off-putting, especially playing towards the gentleman. He's laughing. I think if the light had been kept on and Zhang had missed, he wouldn't be laughing the player. Nothing worse than having something in your line of sight, Alan.
15.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they haven't had a lot of tournaments in Hong Kong down the years. Only one a year now. So a lot of the spectators, it'll be a first time thing, and perhaps they don't fully know the etiquette of being in the crowd, but it's all a learning game, isn't it, in more ways than one.
$23.
Yeah, this has got to be played so accurately. The cannon on the end red. Oh, that's a lovely shot. Yeah, so enjoyed the way he played that. Just encouraged the red to separate itself and leave the cue ball nicely in behind it. Educated shot.
$31.
Okay, just the full face of the pink to aim at. I like this shot being played with lots of pace. Don't try and be too cute with the cannon. Play it with pace. More liable to get the pink full in the face with lots of it. That's the way to play it. Very, very good indeed. That's awesome.
$36.
The professor of splitting reds at Oxford University couldn't have split them any better than that.
Yeah, I just, again, enjoyed the way he played it. If you cut down the journey time from blue to pink with a cue ball, then it's, in a strange way, it's more liable to get it full in the face. Okay, so, terrific chance now, providing he can get nicely in behind the next red.
$44.
Zhang only too acutely aware that his opponent is in the groove, so he knows any error would more likely be pounced upon. Just calm. I think we used this word earlier. He's responding well, isn't he? At 2-1.
51.
Zhao Xintong had made a 75 break from precious little. You thought, well, maybe he'll pull away.
52.
Zhang stuck with it, and that's precisely what he's doing here.
Nine. $60.
Right at the start of the
67.
match, Alan said that, yeah, Zhao is favourite. But Zhang has got a big
68.
chance, and going into the evening session, Alan, nothing's changed.
No, not at all. I think it's as you were. I think the world champion remains a marginal favourite, but that's all.
75.
Things you might expect to get more edgy tonight. I think that's what we would all expect. You're going to get, you know, 2 or 3 key frames that are
76.
decided on the colours and the odd miss here and there, but this has been a fantastic watch. Great final.
And it's a match the crowd are loving, we're loving, and one in which both players can draw genuine positives.
$84.
No century from Zhang, but a break of 84. Excellent. He's back on level terms as they break at the end of the first session. Well, never more than 1 frame in it.
4-4 after the first session of the World Grand Prix final. Zhao Xintong against Zhang, and it's Zhang to get us underway again. The 13th ranking event of the season. We know it'll be the 13th different winner. But who's it going to be? Zhang, as we know, is a very dogged character. We saw that yesterday when he came through that thriller in the semi-finals, and he did well to win that last frame as well of the first session, because Xintong had really hit his stride with the back-to-back centuries. So it's a bit of a clash of styles, but a fascinating match, Neil, and set up perfectly.
It really is a fascinating match, and as you point out rightly, that was a big frame for him to grab hold of, the 8th, because there was an onslaught he was faced with from Zhao Xintong. He'd made 2 total clearances but for an exhibition shot on the black at the end of a 130, and then that 145 that Dave mentioned. It was absolutely brilliant. But he's all level, and you know that's the point, isn't it? Zhang is level. We start again.
What a fluke.
He got nowhere near the pot, did he? And he's an incredible double kiss. I mean, this is... I mean, it's very early in the session, so it may or may not mean much, but goodness me, what a diabolical fluke. I think the problem is that the standard we see now is so high that when a player misses one, you think the opponent must be boosted by that, but he's still winning.
Six. Seven.
Well, that's not the worst kiss either, so a little bit of fortune early in this finale from Zhang.
Yeah, we know luck can play its part. You have to grab hold of it when it comes your way, because a lot will go wrong as well. And a couple of hours now, good 3 hours really since the last session. So it's just getting back out there and trying to produce the goods in the most important session of the week.
Nine.
If Zhang does win the title, he'll be back in the top 16. Of course, he's already secured his place in the Players' Championship. And again, victory, be 8th on the 1-year list, so more than likely be in the Tour Championship as well.
Ten.
I mean, he's a kind of player, like so many, of course, that when he hits form, he really is incredibly difficult to beat because his potting and scoring is so accurately done. Very precise player. But he's almost got two ways of playing. I mean, he
18.
turns up at the Crucible and first played there in 2012 and was beaten. He's never won a match there, remarkably, even as a seeded player. And he just does not perform at that venue at all, it seems. I can't think of well, probably his debut was the best he ever played when he lost narrowly to Stephen Hendry. Never performed there since. I know that's not his problem right now, but he's good. He's so good that it's a little bit of a surprise.
25. $26.
That'll annoy him a little bit because he's not got perfect position. He was desperate to get top side of the blue. Now that he hasn't, he's got to play a good shot to get close down to a red.
Yeah, a little shake of the head, which is all you're really going to get from Zhang, but it just tells you he's lost position. It must have been such a high the way he won yesterday. Come down from that, I'm sure he was pleased that it was the first match. He had the night off at least. So he got the fluke, but just 31 made from it.
Time that. 31.
It was half a chance, wasn't it? And you can't really call that any more than half a chance. It's a difficult long red. But the escape route was always there. And one thing that, you know, is obvious really, but I'm going to say it, is if you're playing this man, Zhao Xintong, you've got to keep him at arm's length, give him nothing, because he just devours those long pots. Just glides them in, but he can't pot them if he can't see them. This is a delightful safety shot, however. Didn't quite get in behind the yellow. It would have been the perfect shot had he done so.
It was a good return. There was a lot of scope for that to go wrong. Yeah, it's important, obviously, to keep Xintong out. You know, we saw that two-frame burst. That's the danger from Zhang's perspective, that suddenly Zhao puts together, you know, a 2 or 3 frame burst and breaks free in this final. Got to keep him firmly on the back foot. But there you go. He's not that in.
Well, the problem is, and we've seen it already in this event with absolutely brilliant match players like Mark Selby and Zhao Guidong, two of the very best in the game right now. They can keep him quiet for a period of time, but not all the time. You know, of course, he beat John Higgins in the last 32 as well. So these are the best in the business, but in the end, he seems to just break free of it all because he's so brilliant. I think if you can perform against, you know, the consummate match players in the game, then really you've got something special. And of course, that is why he's world champion. Now, for many a player coming through, that's their kind of meeting their match, isn't it? Playing these sort of brilliant players, all-round players. Anyway, he doesn't like the angle on the brown. It looks to him as if playing the brown, he's not going to get the cue ball anywhere near out of bulk. I think he's screwing into the green, perhaps, off the brown. So the slightly more difficult green he's playing to land behind a red. It's a lovely shot. Now, is he in the same kind of form as he was in the latter stages of the afternoon session?
We've had 34 centuries and Zhao Xintong has made 6 of them. In fact, 28 of the 34 have been made by the Chinese contingent. We had a record number in the last 16 in the quarterfinals. Of course, all 4 semi-finalists are from China. And of course, with his achievements and profile, it's only going to increase in the future. China Open returning to the calendar next season.
Now, as he found a way onto that right-hand red, I'm not sure he would have played it.
Punch.
If he's on that red to the right, yeah, he is. That's a big shot to land. May not have been a fluke in the same way as Zhang Anda had, but that was quite fortunate. Delicate little nudge here off the reds. Got a lot of class, hasn't he? Don't hit the ball too hard. That's a sign of someone at the top of their game. Awkward cueing, however.
29.
He's got to recover here. He's on the black, but he's got to find a route back in behind a red.
$36. 37.
Well, Zhang got that outrageous
44.
fluke at the start of the frame, but broke down on 31. He seemed to have played a reasonable safety, but Xintong found the long red.
45.
Beautiful red, wasn't it? Now he's just got to finish the job off here. He won't need the blue. The frame will be long since won by then. And even the yellow is providing with high value colours. Not required.
52. 53.
Did win the Riyadh Season Championship, which is a big tournament. It's a tournament for all the top players, top 10 in the world, but not a ranking event. So this is his first ranking final since the Crucible. But there's a lot of big tournaments in the run into Sheffield,
60.
and just reminding us all why he won it last year there.
61.
So this black, and Zhang needs a snooker. He's very easy to like, isn't he? He always looks like he's enjoying himself.
68.
We know that a lot of players, and it's understandable because of the pressure, kind of have the opposite countenance. You know, it can be pint of blood stuff at times, but he always sort of looks like he's on a bit of a day
69.
out, enjoying doing what he does best, which is knocking balls in.
Well, this is a pretty good positional shot, isn't it? I'll just go as far as to say it's better than pretty good. It's an
76.
immaculate shot, and now, of course, he can make a century, albeit, you know, from here it's going to be still very tough to do so. And now
78.
he could knock out the blue here, but it'll leave not the easiest of browns. Decided against it.
81.
So he's decided to leave an angle on this brown to just flick the blue into play. No
85.
contact made, so he's going to take an amazingly good pot here.
Not to be, but a fine 85. Zhao Xintong wins the opening frame of the final session here in Hong Kong, and he leads the final against Zhang Anda 5-4.
Frame 10. Zhao Xintong to break.
Zhao Xintong back in front in the World Grand Prix final in Hong Kong 5-4. There's never been more than a frame between him and Zhang Anda. He's hoping that will change in this frame. Red has just come down, but cue ball close to ball cushion. Zhang was in first in that opening frame of the night, but then a lovely 85 from Zhao Xintong secured it.
Yes, as you said, the red came down, but it was certainly a tricky one, and he was forced into playing it. When the balls stopped rolling, it didn't appear that anything was available. Goes to show you, though, doesn't it? You get a bit of good fortune, as Zhang did in that last frame. And yes, he made a few off of it, but he didn't make enough from that piece of luck. And as a consequence, he set out a lovely 80-plus break in the end. So you have to exploit anything fortuitous that goes your way at this game.
Yes, I mean, all the frames are important, of course, but this little mini session I think is interesting because there's just the potential, maybe, for Xintong to start to pull away in these 4 frames. But still a long way to go. There's still possible 10 frames to play, including this one. Trying to continue his 100% record in finals. UK Championship 2021, German Masters 2022, and of course the World Championship last year. Zhang's 4th final. He won the 2nd of them, the International Championship. That was just after he lost the 1st, the English Open, to Judd Trump. And then later that season, so 2 years ago now, Mark Allen beat him in a very close Players' Championship final, 10-8. But this is his first since then.
And a pretty good cue ball. Zhao Xintong acknowledged that. He pots brilliantly, but I think that for someone who does pot so well, there must be the temptation to take on everything. We've seen players doing that before. I'm the best long potter in the world, I can pot any ball. But Xintong knows that that's not really the case. Might have to try and attempt this one, though, getting the cue ball down the other end. Well, maybe he can pot anything after all. In fairness, he played it in quite a measured way. The point I was making, though, is that you see players who become reckless with their long game because they're so confident of it. But he seems to play the right shots. Knows his boundaries, of which there aren't many. I think he's okay for the pink. It's certainly not an easy table. Pink spot is covered, so it goes on to the black, but then
13.
it's pretty tough around the black spot as well, even for someone like Xintong.
14.
Goes into the left corner, which helps. And if you can get on the red to the left of the pink, that'll be even a bigger help. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Punch. One.
Now the opportunity here to go into the reds is there if he wants it, but he could play on the loose one. Just very measured at this stage.
27. 28.
Might have to be the red up the table here if nothing else is on.
34.
Passes the green into the top right pocket, and that's all he's got here. Well, there's still a red at the bottom of those half a dozen which goes, and in turn that would open up one to the opposite corner pocket. So he doesn't really have to think about going into them at this stage. He can take them one by one. Just needs to get the right positional shot on his next colour. And that is the one.
41.
Well, saying that, he might feel he's about an inch too high. He wanted to be at least straight. He'll have to play a good shot here to get in behind that same red. Beautifully done. Better shot than it looked.
47.
So these open reds will be enough. And again, it started with a great red. Just looks completely relaxed here this evening, focused as well. You know, there have been times this season where just taking his eye off the odd shot here and there, it's cost him, but not so far in this final. Because he knows Zhang well, they practice together, so he's well aware of his abilities. He knows he can't take him for granted. Lost his previous 2 meetings to him, in fact, including one at the UK Championship this season. But he's not far away from opening up for the first time here in the final. 2-frame lead.
$60. 61.
He doesn't feel like Zhang's done a lot wrong. You know, he lost position, broke down on 31 in the previous frame, played what looked like a good safety. Zhang knocked in a long red, and then in this frame, another great red flew in.
$67.
Well, he's mesmerising, isn't he, at times? These 2 frames have been quite something, the way that he's taken them. I mean, he made 2 fantastic breaks, 130 and 145, but I honestly don't believe they're better breaks than these 2.
74.
You can watch them back. The way that he's taken these 2 frames from positions of
75.
well, hardly anything. The first frame, and then he put a brilliant red here, and he's won the frame off it, and this is absolutely sensational stuff for me. Well, he's won the frame. It's a great start to the evening session.
Yeah, he wanted to pot the lot, didn't he? He was trying to get the other reds into play, but the frame is his. And for the first time, he's 2 clear at 6-4. Zhang has spent rather a long time in his seat, hasn't he, this evening? He's concerned. Any sort of long red that's left, he's just concerned that it's going to fly in. Yeah, and that's why.
Yeah, just every right to be concerned, isn't he? You know, it's it also, the speed he plays them at, you'd think, well, he pots these balls, you can imagine balls flying around at 100 miles an hour, but that's not really how he operates. This is a tricky little one because, you know, the red up the table is causing him a problem here. It's very fiddly to put the rest in an unnatural position. Yes, that was the reason he missed. It was a really awkward rest shot. Pity he finished there. from such a good red. This time, perhaps not so lucky. Is he on the black? He might be able to swerve it. And he might have to. Here's a look at the shot he played. You never quite know that the reds are not going to cover the line onto the black. So a little bit of left-hand side. Yeah, negotiated pretty well.
Eight.
Well, you get the feeling that chances are not coming very often for Zhang, so he's got to make something of this.
Nine.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing when you've made mistakes and you think, OK, I've got to tighten up, I've got to not make them again. But he hasn't done a lot wrong tonight. I know he was in the first frame, lost position, but just seen long balls been just knocked in time and time again since. And he'd be wary, of course, of leaving any sort of chance for Xintong at the moment.
Don't believe he played it that poorly, actually. I think it was just
14.
he's a bit thin on the blue to go into them as he'd like to. But the big question, is he on that right-hand red? If he isn't, then there's nothing else for him. So the answer is end of break. So he hasn't made much from what was a good chance. They're so few and far between. You've got to take them at this level against this wonderful player.
Rankings, of course, based on prize money. So it was touch and go as to whether Zhao Xintong will get in the Players' Championship. He's in now, and if he were to win today, he'd actually be 6th on the one-year list, which means he'd be in the Tour Championship. So just the way the prize money goes up in huge chunks, you know, at the business end of the tournament.
Yes, I mean, as a first-time world champion, you know, you couldn't be certain of anything, what is going to happen in the following season, but people have said he's not had a very good time of things, but he is on 11 on the one-year list. It's not bad, is it, for a champion with all the different pressures? And he could end up a lot higher if he wins this evening. Anyway, he's left this on.
Yeah, and these are the sort of chances that Zhang knows he's got to take, because he hasn't been offered much so far this evening. He's got to try and stay in touch in this mini session.
Of course, the event that Zhao Xintong won, 250,000 for the Saudi Golden Ball event, was not a ranking tournament.
One.
Put too much topspin on that, and of course it traps the cue ball and stops it from travelling up the table.
Wrong ball. Zhang Da, 1.
Well, I think it's safe to assume even with Xintong, he won't be potting one here. Played so well throughout this tournament. And I think the key thing, as you said earlier, you know, those close matches he won against the sort of hardened match players, that says that he's not just a sort of, you know, potter and flamboyant player. He can dig in as well. Well, he nearly did pot one. What a result.
Yeah, he was lucky there. He tried to just sort of go in between the two reds, didn't he? And clip one. Well, he did all of those things, but the red over the pocket was fortunate not to leave, has to be said. Now he's put him in a world of trouble here, isn't he? Zhang. What is he going to do? He can get to reds, but he's got that. The problem red over the pocket. If roles were reversed, I think I know what Xintong would do. He'd probably crunch a red into the left corner and think nothing of it. But the game's not so easy for everybody. I think he must be looking to see which other reds he can pot, but I think from what I can see here, he either plays to get in behind the red over the pocket or he tries to pot that top left-hand red. Sometimes all you can do is pot your way out of a problem. If he plays in behind the red over the pocket, this is going to have to be extremely accurately played. Well, he's slightly unlucky to going off, but it was not that unsurprising it happened. Of course, he's left that red as well from hand.
Yeah, so Zhang had the fluke in frame one of the night, but Zhao was lucky to snooker him behind the brown and now looking to take advantage again.
1.
Yeah, I mean, he's never going to miss this, was he? The way he pots, like hanging over the pocket for him. I don't know if he can get on the red next to the black. That would help. And he's tried to. And the way he's purposefully walking around, I reckon he's on it.
7. Eight. $15. 16.
He does win the title. His prize money for the season will go over just over £700,000. So I don't think Xintong will consider it a bad campaign, with plenty more big tournaments to come, of course.
No, I think he's done well. You know, I don't know what people expected, really. You know, coming to win the World Championships with amateur status from round one of qualifying. And that was mind-boggling, actually. I'm still not sure I can quite believe how he did it. But first-time world champions, you know, it come under a lot of scrutiny. I think, generally speaking, he's done well. And it seems like he's getting better. He has, however, just overdone that last shot. Well, that was not close. And he has left a chance. Now, this is a big moment
赵欣彤
for
24
Zhang Anda. Very big. He has to take this.
Well, it's a very good chance, but he's slightly under it with just the start Zhao Xintong has made. Although, as I say, because they, you know, they practice together, it won't be any surprise to Zhang Anda how well Xintong's played so far. He's a pretty calm individual. We saw that yesterday. Okay, he did miss the last red in the decider with the rest, but he did well to win it. You know, even the last black under that pressure was missable. Had to take the cue ball around the houses off the pink. And there was just a very slight clench of the fist. There was no sort of theatrics. He's not that sort of character, but he was clearly satisfied with the victory.
Sixteen. Seventeen.
So the couple of reds
24.
just below the pink spot. He'd just like to bring them into play a little bit more. And that's what he's done exactly there. With the pink over the right corner, that was the perfect moment to disturb the two reds. Now it really is a frame-winning chance. Now what has he done here? What has he done here? Goodness me, what a place to finish.
31.
That's quite a big mistake. He could get to the top red perhaps, but it's not what he's looking for.
Yeah, well recovered. It's just a must-win frame, isn't it? The way Xintong's playing. Got to, you know, when you're being starved of chances, you've got to put opportunities like this away. But he's back in business now, and with a 20-point lead, surely it's going to be 6-5. And as much as I think Zhao Xintong is very popular here, equally the crowd, as with any big final, you want to see a real close battle, exciting match.
35.
Turning, I think, into one of the best finals we've seen this season. It's close, it's high quality, they're both contributing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the standard of play is just off the charts, really, I think. And, you know, Zhang Anda is having to soak up quite a bit of pressure. He had to do it in the last frame of the afternoon session, having sat out two big centuries, and now just clinging on again here, isn't he? But he's taken them well, he's recovered it well. A little bit of tension crept in the middle of this break, but he overcame all that. There was a moment during this frame where it looked like Zhao Xintong was going to build up a three-frame lead, and that might have just been beyond Zhang Anda. But of course, there's another frame to go before the mid-session, and he might be able to win that one as well. Who knows?
It was that one positional shot, wasn't he? He left himself the pink with the rest, and he missed the pink. So just that one small error has made a difference. Zhang not on the ground, but well and truly over the line here. 39 in front, 22 on. Important visit just to steady the ship in this final, because there was a danger that Zhao Xintong was running away with it. But Zhang takes it and reduces the gap here to 6-5.
From 12.
So the last frame before the last interval of the World Grand Prix final. It's a terrific match, this, and Zhang Anda has pulled one back, trails 6-5 to Zhao Xintong, the world champion. Once again eyeballing that red, hoping for cover.
Yes, and the red went up last time, but if you could actually keep that break in the locker forever, it'd be a good one. Now that he's tucked on the cushion, the red is on, but the brown's in the way of it. It's actually really troublesome. They might be able to drop onto reds. Just dead bat the situation here. I mean, look, as commentators, we talk about big frames, don't we? This feels like one. You know, in the context, you've still got to get to 10 or whoever wins this one. But if you could keep 2 frames as a buffer, the world champion, then I think he'd be okay. He'd feel good about things. If he gets pegged back again, then you might wonder what he's got to do to shake Zhang Anda off.
Zhang actually is due in Leicester on Tuesday for the winners' group of the Championship League, so we'll see whether he makes it or not, but that will not be in his thoughts right now.
Well, lots been spoken about Zhao Xintong's long game, but that was as good as anything that Xintong can do. Just calmly rolled it in. A lot depends on the cue ball here, nudging into reds. This is the problem, you just can't know for sure. He felt he couldn't use backspin, he had to just drop it in and hope that reds would all
8.
form an orderly line to the pocket. Now this is a tough recovery shot.
Done that. 8.
Well, it doesn't look to have done a lot of damage. You're always hesitant to say that with Xintong. don't think he could play that without hitting that jaw of the pocket, which is why he's not in prime position here. It's a good red, though. Certainly a more straightforward shot would be to punch the brown in and be on that red in bulk. If he rolls the blue, again, it's in the lap of the gods where anything finishes. I mean, I think the quality of and purity of ball striking for these two has been absolutely outstanding.
5.
Both players do not hit balls hard, they stroke
6.
everything in, making, as we know, a very difficult game look very easy.
Eleven. Zhao.
He's willing the cue ball to slow down. He played on that red to middle that he's level with. There aren't many mistakes being made, but that was just a semblance of one. He was thinking a lot about the cue ball there, a lot about the cannon on the red to hold for the black, and of course the pot needed a lot of consideration as well. Something had to give. How big a moment in the context of the whole match will that be?
Well, it's a big chance, this, but of course, as we get nearer the real business end of the final, there's bound to be a few nerves there. The thing about the World Championship is, certainly at the Crucible, he kind of led from the front in every match, didn't he? Including the final. Went into the final night 17-8 up. Mark Williams did superbly to win those 4 frames, but never really looked like there was going to be a sustained comeback. It would have been asking a hell of a lot.
17.
But this is a much closer match. In terms of the season he's had, I mean, you know, people said, would he dominate? But what does that mean these days? If there's 25 tournaments, how many would you have to win to be dominating? 10? 15? Not going to happen, is it? Standard is so high, that's why the tournaments have been shared around.
Oh, exactly, and of course we've seen that no one is able to dominate at the moment, so to win some big events would mean a lot to anybody. You're seeing a level of excellence, though, from him, which is something you just can't forget about. You know, it's there. He's playing this red to middle when he's got the easy red over the other middle. He's going to have to get this.
33.
Oh, what a delightful shot that is, and a brave shot. I mean, he didn't have to play it. well, it's hard to imagine that that cannon could go wrong, and it mercifully hasn't.
14.
The other thing about being world champion,
41.
particularly first time, is to be visible. And he's certainly been that. You know, he came and played in the shootout. A lot of the big names sat that one out. He's been doing a lot of media work and endorsement work in China. So he's been, I think, a good world champion in that sense. And, of course, that does
48.
eat into the time you can practice. So, you know, sometimes some of the tournaments when you've gone out early may be a factor, the travelling as well.
49.
Anyway, what a chance to go 7-5 here. Zhang was in, lost his way. Xintong in the mood this week to punish.
Yeah, I thought about that.
56.
I wondered if he'd play in everything, but I also figured that he'd been in exile for so long, he just wants to be playing snooker again. And the
57.
shootout I wasn't entirely sure about whether he'd go to, but clearly he wants to be out there performing again after being on the sidelines for so long.
Yeah, he came before he played in Blackpool. He came and sat in the audience while his sort of Sweet Caroline was going on and all that hoopla around him. He seemed a little nonplussed. But anyway, this is the more familiar environment and just a few balls away now from securing the frame. He's going to need one more red after this blue. And he'll have the advantage at the last interval. Zhang has had chances tonight. He hasn't played badly, but just the odd moment, the odd mistake, and the odd moment, of course, of brilliance from his opponent has made the difference. It's a really good match, though, and still potential after the interval for another 7 frames.
Yeah, I mean, Zhang in this frame, that chance where he slightly dropped out of position, the red 2 left middle, where he was thinking about position as well. I think that could be the difference between the two players on the evening, because now the 2-frame lead has been there and put in front of him again. You know, he's been sort of hanging on a little bit, Zhang. I mean, against this class of opposition, he's done extremely well. But it might not be enough.
84.
Yeah, I agree. He's played to a very high level, Zhang, but of course the problem is the level your opponent plays to. Xintong's already made 2 centuries in the final. It's looking like a third, and that would make him the third man this season to have made at least 50 after Mark Selby and Neil Robertson.
89. '93. '98.
So the few mistakes Zhang has made, he's going to have to cut out after the interval, but he's going to need Zhao Xintong's level to dip, and there's no sign of that. He's playing superbly. His 3rd century of this World Grand Prix final. Lovely clearance of 111 gives the world champion the advantage at the last interval here in Hong Kong. 7-5, and when they return in 15 minutes' time, he will need 3 frames to become champion. Zhang Anders played to a high level as well, but he finds himself trailing.
From 13.
And every chance he gets now, he knows he's really got to try and take just to stay in touch. There's still time for this to turn round. Possible 7 frames left, but it starts here and now in frame 13 of a possible 19. 180,000 to the winner, and the lovely World Grand Prix trophy as well.
Q was racing a bit here, down towards the reds again. As he left that end one on. A surprising mistake. I think he wanted to play thin off the bunch, so he didn't push anything out, but in doing so, he overcooked it. Red by the black, though, is a worry already. Whether he could pot this and develop that red, it would be some shot if he could. Played it beautifully. What a shot.
Wow. Eight. Nine.
One of the opening session, Zhang Anda made breaks of 91 and 2 of 84. Obviously all frame-winning contributions.
$60. $17.
Well, that has opened up everything.
24.
Put his cue in the gap between those two reds here. I mean, the opening red with the rest
25.
where he cannoned the other red out was... I mean, it's a terrific shot. I mean, it's not as if he went into it knowing he was going to have that shot. It just came up as a consequence of a bad safety shot. Slightly bad anyway, slightly not as planned.
$32.
Small disturbance there.
$33.
Well, it's the 5th black coming up. When he won the International Championship in 2023, he actually made a maximum in the final.
$40.
Yes, I mean, I
41.
suppose he could make one here. For now, he has to get this frame secured. Clearly, where the balls are, any mistakes could see him go further behind. But the bottom line, it really is a good chance, actually, for staying on reds and blacks for the foreseeable.
48.
We've had 22 this season, and he made the most recent, Zhang, at the German Masters just last week in Berlin. From his very first chance in the very
49.
first frame against Barry Hawkins.
56.
Well, here's the thing. Let's look at what he chooses to do here, because it's absolutely simple to pot this and play on the pink. But is he going to continue on the black? There is your answer. There is your answer, because he really didn't have to do that.
$64.
Zhang Yudong made a 144 against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Today, Zhao Xintong made a 145. So he, top of the high breaks chart for the £10,000 prize. But could it go here in dramatic fashion? Zhang has made 5 maximums in his career, 2 this season. The first was in the Shanghai Masters.
Yes, I don't know if he's got the perfect angle here.
$72.
So the frame isn't won yet, so can he afford to drop this in and hold for the black? It's probably what he will do. But if he misses, he could still come unstuck here. It's okay. Could be better, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is it looks like frame says 2 snookers needed without this black.
He might be able to play this Dave with left-hand side, and of course the pot is more difficult, but he's heading back into the vicinity of the reds in the middle of the table. It looks like he's going to the bottom of the cue ball. It's tough.
That's a shame, but as I say, it looks like the frame is his. 73 the break ends at, 67 on the table, so 2 snookers.
Well, reds and blacks and anything that takes him to within 1 red left on the table will keep the frame alive, I think. These things are possible. But this would take a bit of believing, wouldn't it? A maximum attempt getting so far and then the frame still going.
We had a close-up lesson, didn't he, about how to lay snookers from Chris Wakelin. In that decider, he got very close to stealing a frame that was all day long over.
$16.
I mean, you can kind of see where the first snooker is going to come from. Whichever red he takes next would probably be the left-hand one. Although that is not hit hard enough.
$24.
He might have to take a colour other than the black here. Didn't stop him trying, because it wouldn't change a lot of things if he could get on the pink perhaps.
25.
I mean, the pink back on its spot, really, it doesn't change a lot. Snooker is on the last red, it seems. That's not a very good shot. Don't know when the pink goes, whether you can see all of the red.
31.
And he clearly won't be potting the red here because he's got to get the snooker and hopefully the free ball. It's a good shot. Can he get to the left cushion? And the question, if he was tight in behind the black, this would be a world of trouble. But I have a feeling he can just sneak across that side of the table. Well, I think it's one of those situations he thought about that. And he, well, look, if I can't hit the red, hit the yellow. It's not the worst outcome. It means no free ball anyway. And of course, no miss will be called because the snooker's required. But he's only down to 1 now.
Yeah, and of course, the other thing is nothing's safe. So if Zhao Xintong were to get the second snooker, everything's possible. For all the big breaks and sort of flash pots we've seen in this final, this could be yet the most significant moment.
He's not got the snooker, but as he left a very thin cut, and is it so thin that Zhang would not feel very comfortable about knocking it in? I mean, if the red goes in and he goes in off in the bottom left, it's not a big problem because the red's off the table. But he wasn't prepared to take any risks of that kind. I think it might have cut in. Very lucky, but it should be hittable. It's a one cushion, you'd think, fairly regulation escape. Tell you another thing here, that the yellow's gone into a promising place for getting snookers right there. You can easily see the cue ball trapped in behind that. Certainly a bit of life still in this frame. But that was not as good as it might have been. He'd be disappointed there. That was a possibility.
Well, it appears Xintong is in a snooker himself.
I'm not sure it's easy to hit without playing a swerve, because of the yellow, of course, covering the right side. Oh my goodness. How about that? Just given a few awkward moments, this, for Zhang, isn't it? Because I know the green's been pushed to the cushion, but don't know it. I mean, he probably hit this as well, but he's one of these, I suppose you could slip past the red, playing around two cushions. I don't think he'll miss it, but I've seen them missed.
It's all anxiety. He doesn't need him. And he's made a 73 break. You know, the frame, he was sort of coasting towards the line. Now suddenly it's all got a little bit sticky.
Of course, the other thing to say, he could pot red-black. Zhao Xintong, if he wanted to. Obviously, if he can avoid it like there, he will. But you know, he can now pot the red and the black. It would mean one snooker on the colours. There's a few awkward moments here, though. It's been a superb frame, actually. You know, not with only the break building of Zhang, but the fight back, if you like, from the world champion. But he doesn't look like missing them, does he? Let's be honest. I know he missed one earlier, but I think he was quite happy to hit the yellow. Not leave a free ball on that occasion. I think Xintong would have loved the red to bounce out into open play. But it's being pretty picky because it was a very good shot. I think the brown is quite close to being in the way of the single cushion escape, the bolt cushion back down for the red. To go twice up and down. Amazing shot, isn't it? Amazing shot. It's the only way he could go, I think.
Warmly appreciated by this large crowd at the Kai Tak Arena. What a battle this is. Zhao Xintong, rightly known as a wonderful ball striker, great potter, break builder, but showing a bit of metal here, putting Zhang under it. Wonderful pot, and that secures the frame and just holds off that moment of uncertainty put on him by Zhao Xintong. He made the 73, of course, was in the throes of a maximum. The main thing is he's pulled one back, and this final could yet be heading for a very exciting conclusion. It's been real high quality. Zhang sticking in there very nicely. What about that shot? So,
Zhang up 10 in the frame.
Zhao Xintong, a spirited attempt to get the snookers, but it is Zhang Anda who reduces the gap to 7-6. Zhao Xintong still ahead, but not being able to really break free of Zhang Anda. He's been a couple of frames ahead a couple of times, but Zhang proving to be very stubborn. You know, he's won a big tournament, that international championship, a huge event that he won a couple of seasons back. And, of course, his last final, the Players' Championship against Mark Allen. It's a long match, that, but he really stuck with Allen. Just lost out 10-8, but it was a closely fought encounter.
What a beautiful, clean shot that he knocked in. And the balls are lined up ever so well. But he's not pleased with that shot because he's not the tallest player on the tour, and he will be stretching on this next red to right corner. Yes, this is not the red he was looking to play.
Zhang 5.
Yeah, I think the reason he played that red actually was he felt that perhaps he wouldn't leave anything, sending the cue ball across to the right. But he looked very disappointed. Does anything go that we don't know about? We got just a fleeting glimpse of the table there, and that red through the gap is at bottom. Wow. There's the smallest gap you'll see. That is incredible. That's why Zhang Anda looked so disappointed, because a small gap appeared through all the reds.
Yes, and on such fine margins, you know, frames are won and lost. Crowd living every moment. A few of them wondered if that black would drop.
8. 9. 16. 17.
'Well, he's got to sort the pink out. I wonder if Zhao Xintong has heard about the Crucible Curse yet. If he hasn't, he will do. Very soon, no first-time champion defending the title, etc., etc. He'll have that to think about in a couple of months' time. But after the way he played last year, maybe the curse will be dispelled once and for all. Of course, we don't know who he could play in round one. You know, he could play someone like Zhang Anda, couldn't he, in round one? That first day, as Karen Wilson found out last year, can be the one that is the sticky one, really.
Yes, my feelings about that are that he could break it. I'll never really believe that it's going to be easy for anyone to get over that hurdle. It all depends, as you rightly say. You could be dumped out on the first day, and many a champion and a first-time champion has happened to, including as recently as last year. If you can overcome day one, then
34.
who knows?
33.
He's a wonderful player. That's the key, isn't it? Suited to long matches, I think. I don't suppose anyone thought an amateur would be world champion, so the curse is nothing compared to that. It's a great split, but what is he on?
31.
Gave it everything, didn't he? Gave it everything, rolled it. Maximised his chances of the red dropping.
$37. 38.
So already 40
45.
to the good. Plenty of reds to go at here for an 8-6 lead.
46. 53. 54. 61.
That was a little too close for comfort, wasn't it, to the top jaw like that? But it still went in. I suppose if nearest you're going to get to a mistake is a ball that only just goes in rather than stays out, then it's not going so badly. Because he hasn't really looked like missing during the course of this break.
$67.
Well, just needs one more red, this one. So he's just holding Zhang under off, isn't he? Zhang, he's staying in touch, but can't quite get back on level terms, which of course is where they were when they resumed at 4-4.
Yeah, and if you remember, Dave, how it all started this frame, he missed that red, didn't he? And thought he'd hidden the cue ball on the right. There was a wall of reds, but there was the smallest gap
76.
through to one red. Incredible. And Zhang is probably still thinking of that now.
Absolutely, you know, it's just a few millimetres here and there, isn't it, that's made the difference. We said at the time it can make the difference between winning and losing a frame, and it's cost Zhang.
83.
And now Zhao Xintong with a chance to make his 4th century of the final.
84.
If he can deal with these awkward reds. Nothing really seems that awkward to him, does it? He's playing delightful snooker.
92.
I suppose the fact that he's a left-hander is one thing that might stop him. That's all I can imagine, because a right-handed player would find it
99.
easy to run this down the cushion, or easier.
Just fell in. And there's the century. Crowd loving this.
Well, it's been sensational. I mean, it really has. I think Zhang has played beautifully as well, and you know he's at the point of
7.
going 2 down again. So we're seeing a level of snooker in this final, which is up there with anything you'll ever see, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely right. I think Zhang has played to a level in some finals this season. He would have won them, but you know it's about obviously how your opponent plays, and Zhao Xintong has brought his A game to the title match for sure.
16.
Dazzling exhibition of snooker from the world champion.
21. 27.
Another great break in a final full of them. Trying a trick shot on the black, and what about that? Wonderful stuff from Zhao Xintong, a 1-3-4, and he's 2 away from the title at 8-6.
Number 15. Zhang not to break.
Even the break-off shot is causing Zhang some concern. Has he left a red out on either side? Or is the green just covering the pair of them? Well, I think there's your answer, just about.
Entries that Xintong has made: 130, 145, 111, 134. He's also had 75, 85 and another 75.
Terrific shot. It's a brave shot, actually, because he knew he was crashing into the bunch, and the red that he was playing was not a certainty, but he could hardly have controlled it any better. The black, as you can see, is well and truly tied up at this stage.
5.
So it's a question of how this break develops.
6.
None of this looked likely when he trailed Mark Selby 4-1. And at 4-3, Selby was in early and Mr. Black off the spot unexpectedly. Just opened the door. Gosh, Xintong 1-5-4.
12. 13.
Yes, and you could argue that Zhang in his last match against Zhou Yulong didn't play a double in the deciding frame on the last blue, which would have been match ball had that gone in, because we've been different finalist. These moments are always there, aren't they?
$18.
Finished a bit in between though, isn't he? As you can see, the positioning of the cue ball is right in between all of the reds he wants to play. So it's a thin one cut back here. Which he negotiates absolutely delightfully.
$24.
At the moment, he's just taking what is there,
25.
knowing that the black still isn't close to being in play. He's building a lead of some kind.
$30. $31. $36. $37.
Well, he's getting on this blue ball very precisely, and of course it can be a little difficult. You finish straight or wrong side. Negotiate a path right round through the bulk colours, but when you get on the blue perfectly every time, it's not a problem.
42.
Good shot as well. Played it safe there. He knew that there were plenty of options down the table. This is a really superb break. I know that it won't hit the numbers of previous
47.
breaks in this match because he's taken some low value colours, but he's not taken them well. An absolute
48.
delight to watch him. He's some player, he really is.
$53. $54.
Once again, absolutely perfectly in behind the blue. Here's another red. I wonder if those two reds might have been a plant. We've spotted them
59.
earlier in the frame. Can he rely on it though? I don't think he can.
$60.
So looking at the cue ball there with a bit of suspicion, but the snooker needed. Obviously wants to ensure the frame is his.
Yeah, I mean, the blue's a bit close to in off into the right corner pocket if he just rolls it. He doesn't need that to happen. That's why he played it at the pace he did, because it was on its way to the right corner. The break might have come to an end.
65.
But I can honestly say I think that was a genius break of 65 for me. The pink was never really involved. The black was never in play. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it's not always about the number, is it? It's about how it's made and looking likely to put him 9-6 in front. And if it is 9-6, then it'll be 3 clear for the first time. Well, it's boots on the other foot, of course, in the last frame. Or 2 frames ago, wasn't it? Zhang needed 2 snookers. Now it's Zhang who needs 2. Well, needs to be on the pink, really.
1.
Yeah, he was just giving points away, isn't he? It was a terrific shot, wasn't it? He's not seen a ball for a while.
Well, blue, he'd be 59 behind with 51 on. You say 51 on, that's with blacks, of course, which is covered. And the blue's in.
No, but the point you make is absolutely right. I mean, the more
6.
low-value colours he takes with the remaining reds, of course, the more snookers he needs. It's as simple as that.
Seven. $13. $14.
Well, the plan would be to pot this and finish below the black spot and lay a snooker there behind the black and take the red down the table. It's not out of the question. But a lot depends how well he plays the next shot, I feel. Well, he's unlucky. It was a difficult shot. It's a great effort, this, to make anything of a bad situation in the frame. Let's be honest. Done extremely well to get to this point.
Done that. 20.
Well, he'd done well until that point. Because that was nowhere near what was required at that point in the match, in the frame. Could be in a snooker of his own here.
Yes, it's looking very likely that Zhang is going to have to win the last 4 frames if he's going to win this tournament. And that's a tall order, considering how well Zhao Xintong has played. His level has not dropped all day. It's been his A game, really, right from the start.
A little bit dangerous, that shot, because he's setting himself up to be in a snooker. The next time he comes to the table, cue ball down to the bulk end. Doesn't get much wrong, does he, Xintong? But I do think that that last shot was not so great, because he was always going to end up snookered in the end. I mean, he's got to make up a lot of points, 10 points. He's playing a swerve here. Goodness, not much room. What a shot that was. I mean, this is pretty precise stuff, isn't it? He took it as if it was nonchalant and easy.
Well, has he left the pot on? If he has, then looks like frame over for sure. Yeah, no, not a good shot that from Zhang.
What?
So it's going to be 9-6 for sure. It's going to take something special to stop Zhao Xintong now. The way he's playing, you fancy he might just need one chance to get it won.
Zhao Xintong 1 and a frame.
Zhao Xintong 3 frames clear now and 1 away from the title here in Hong Kong, leading Zhang under 9-6.
Frame 60. Zhao Xintong to break.
Well, the crowd have been royally entertained here today. Question is how much more snooker will be played, because Zhao Xintong needs 1 more frame to become World Grand Prix champion. Zhang Anda, we know, is a stubborn character. He played terrifically well himself. He hasn't taken much to lose frames, but can he find a way back in and at least put some pressure on?
Well, the bet that he missed went to some form of safety anyway, but is there anything to right middle?
What?
Once again, there was a gap, but it doesn't mean that the pot to middle was any easier. It's because he could get through to it.
Seven. Eight.
Well, we'll see how far he gets, but from what we've seen today, this could well be the last visit of this final. It's a Chinese New Year in a few days' time. The year of the horse. And Zhao Xintong can well and truly see the winning line here, a finishing post in this World Grand Prix. He's played brilliantly. But not just in the final, all week. I think we've seen all sides of his game. He's scored really heavily. But his tactical game as well, and against some of the great tacticians, has held up very strongly.
Well, there's the zip on the cue ball that he gets, but this time it's not
31.
made it all that clear as to which red he's on. He may have a red, but he got so much work on that ball for so little effort. Going to cut back thin one. Beautiful, really delightful. Well, this time he might just be a little fortunate, actually. He hasn't needed a lot of luck today, but he might have got a bit there. They're very close together, and Zhang Weili, the referee, will look to make sure there's no push shot played.
38.
I think he's got a chance, you know. Genuinely think that he's got a chance to take snooker to the next level.
45.
Some of the shots he's playing in amongst them on this big stage against an opponent
46.
close to the top of his game, he's playing majestic snooker for me. He's got better as the week's gone on. It's a joy to watch him.
Yeah, these talents, they don't
53.
emerge every week, but they do emerge in different sports. You look at Carlos Alcaraz come along in tennis. Luke Littler, of course, in
54.
darts. You know, you think the old era can never be overturned, but it is. And Zhao Xintong, certainly a flag bearer of a new era in snooker. He's already world champion,
61.
and he's a few balls away from winning this title as well. And he has played superbly.
62.
2 more pots needed. And a chance to finish in style with his 5th century of the day. Zhang Anda has not done a lot wrong, has he? He's played to a very high level himself. But he's playing someone very special here.
Yeah, and the grace in
69.
which he goes about what he's doing, I think, is the point, isn't it? You know that a lot of players can make centuries, a lot of players can play well, but
70.
there's a real beauty in the way he does it.
Well, they're cheering because that is effectively championship ball. Just needed one chance again. And the late, great John Virgo was right. There's always a gap.
77.
He could see a red through the gap. He potted it, and he hasn't looked back.
It would be nice if he could keep this break going, I think, just for a little bit longer. He's finished a little awkwardly on this red.
$78. $85. 86.
Stephen Hendry's record of 7 centuries in a final remains, but 5
93.
on the cards. Barry Hawkins did that in the World Grand Prix not so long ago.
94.
This has been just irresistible, though. What a finish. What a player.
101.
I've said this before, but in cricket you've got the little master, Sachin Tendulkar. I think he's snooker's version of the little master. He's a magnificent player. He doesn't look under pressure, even when he's been put
109.
under some by any opponent this week.
110.
Come back a long way from when 4-1 down to an in-form Mark Selby in the best of 9.
$117.
Yeah, let's not forget he made the high break. A 145, which followed a 130 in the previous frame. It's at 111, 134. And looks likely to finish off here with a 1-4-4. Just dazzling stuff.
Yes, and he's shown sort of glimpses of what he's capable of this season, but I think he's reached peak here in this final.
26.
This is really as good as it gets for now.
Yes, a game that is brutally hard, being made to look ridiculously easy. So the break ends at 1-3-1, his 5th century of the final. Zhao Xintong wins the World Grand Prix here in Hong Kong with a virtuoso display of snooker. Credit to Zhang for staying with him for long periods, but in the end, Zhao Xintong broke free. He collects the £180,000 first prize.
There's no doubt he's a very popular player here.
He's entertaining crowds not just today, but all week.
Now let's invite Ms. Feng Huanhuan to present the floral garland to
Going to get
the
various
winner.
gifts and then, of course, the trophy. And there's another cheque for his collection. And it takes his earnings this season to over £700,000. Zhao Xintong, the World Grand Prix champion, after a fantastic display today in the final. It's his 4th world ranking title. He's won all 4 finals he's been in.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to our winner, Zhao Xintong from China.